Hey guys, what's up? It's JRCuber. In this video, I'm going to be solving the Shapeshifting 5x5 that I got in a recent unboxing. This puzzle is super fun to solve, and I'm just going to basically be walking through the steps of that solve in this video. It's not really going to be a proper tutorial since not that many people have this puzzle, but hopefully it'll be pretty fun to just watch the solve. This is also the very first video that I am recording with my new Panasonic GH5, so this video should be in 4K 60 FPS, so if your internet can handle it, you might want to try bumping it up to that and see how it looks. Let me know what you think in the comments. Anyways, let's go ahead and scramble this puzzle up. So the first thing we're going to do is just scramble it like a cuboid. And then after we do that, I would say that's pretty sufficient. We can misalign all these layers like this and then start shape-shifting it. Alright, so I would say right around there is probably a really good scramble. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get started with this solve. The first thing that we need to do is get it back into its cuboid state. So we're going to solve this like a 3x3 because that's how many layers we have. We have 1, 2, 3 layers. So we've got a white center here, so we need to get our white edges around the white center. Here's a white and green one, which we will put in. We got a white and red one here. White and blue. And the final one right here. Then we can put in our corners. There's already one in here. There's another one, well actually one right here that we can put in. And I might actually try and do F2L. So our F2L edge is right here. Insert that in back there, and now we took out a corner that was here doing that, so let's pair it with its edge, which is it already is paired up, and we'll insert that in. Then we get this one, and finally this corner with this edge here. Okay, now for the top layer, I know this OLL, I think I can do it. There we go, okay. And then for PLL, we have a J-perm. So I should be able to do that. Okay. So there we go, we have our outer 3x3 solved. So now to get the rest of this back, you kind of just have to move this around a little bit until we can get something to move here. So the whole process of actually solving the 3x3 part is not really that necessary. I just kind of do it for fun. Let's see, we're missing something here. The reason why is because you kind of mess it all up when you do this part anyway. Usually there's a way you can get part of this out before you start moving around everything else. Might not be this time. Ah, there we go. I always know that you can get part of it. I was trying to figure out how to do that. Now to get the other part, it's a little bit more tricky. Basically what we can do is just do the parity algorithm to flip around these two edges here. So let's just kind of, yeah, do it like this. So we can flip around these two pieces. Actually, no, we should get this part done first. Hold on. There we go. Now we'll be able to just flip these two around. So we can do the 4x4 parity algorithm, just doing these inner layers. It's not the 4x4 parity algorithm, it's just the parity algorithm. And then I guess we can finish it off like that. Okay, so now we're just down to this stage. So this part is very similar to a 5x5x3. So we don't just want to place these pieces in these middle layers in random spots. We want to put them in the solve spots because once we put them into random spots, we're not going to be able to solve them just from its cuboid form. So for the example, this red piece is going to need to go into this red center here. So what we can do is bring up this piece here and then turn it over and then do a swap of these two pieces and these two, just doing R2, U2, R2, U2, R2, U, and then that can come back down. So now we can do that with the next one. So here we have green, so we'll come over here to green, bring up an open green spot, and flip around these two pieces. Now we have orange. We'll go ahead and put in this orange piece. That brings out a blue piece here. Now we have red again. Now orange. You can do it from this side as well. Now blue. And finally we have green. Oops, come on. Alright, so all these middle parts are now solved. So now we can go ahead and just fix this middle layer like that. So now we have the whole middle layer done. Now we're going to go ahead and solve these centers here. So these are just like opposite 5x5 centers. So we'll start by getting this middle bar, just like that. And then we already have another bar here that we can put up. And then this final bar is here. So for this shape, we can turn up the middle layer and do a U2, turn it back. And now we have our bar, and we can put that in. All right, next up, we need to finish off the other centers. So we've got the middle piece done, but we need to get these bars here. So this process is very similar to the 5x5x4 and the way we build centers. It's actually exactly the same thing. So for example, we can go ahead and start with orange here. So we already have two orange pieces that are paired up here. If we look opposite, we don't have an orange piece that needs to be here or here. So for the reason it needs to be here is because when we turn this piece down to match up with the orange, this one is going to need to be orange. So here's an orange one that if we turn over here, will come into that spot. So now when we bring this orange down, we've formed our bar. We can go ahead and turn it over to the side and bring in an unsolved bar, bring it back, and then restore our centers. So the order of this doesn't really matter, but let's just go ahead and do the other orange one. So we have a middle piece here and then the two outer ones here. So we'll put one outer one in and then one outer one in there. So I think we're gonna have to do this one at a time, basically. Actually, yeah, okay. So the first one here will come in across to here, just like that. And then we can replace it with an unsolved bar, bring it back. Now let's put this half-solved bar back in, and we'll put in the other one. So this one will come down to here like that, and then we'll replace it on this side with an unsolved bar. So that way now we've got both of our solved bars in the same area. I guess we'll go ahead and do blue next, because we can easily set up this to solve this blue bar on the bottom here, just by turning the top, and now we get this piece that's in the correct spot to just come down and then be replaced with an unsolved bar, which in this case will be this one. So we'll do the other blue one now. So there's a half-solved blue bar here, which we will put opposite of this blue piece. right up here. So we'll kind of do it from this angle now. We've got this piece which needs to come up to here, so we can do that. And now we can replace this bar with an unsolved one over here. So now we have 2 centers worth of solved bars, and for this this last one, yeah, we can get. We already have one that has kind of already been solved, 1 bar. We can get another bar that's been solved. We can get this down to just 2 bars left that need to be solved. So for example, if we just turn this around here, we can bring this red piece down to solve this one, but we want to be able to replace it with an unsolved, which we don't have in here, but there's one right here. So we can replace it with a solved one. Don't worry about this one, because this one will just be restored when we restore our centers. So if we bring this down to solve this red piece, we can bring this unsolved bar in, and then turn that back. Okay, so now we're just left with 2 bars. So we have one here and one here. So in order to solve this, we need to kind of set this up first. So first of all, we need to make these 2 centers basically look identical. So as you can see, the other color here that is the already solved bar is blue. On this side, it's green. However, for this to work, we need this one to also be blue. The reason we do that, we'll put this blue one in here, is when we slice over, you can see that it solves everything, and since we're replacing blue with blue, the blue stays solved. However, now we need to fix our centers. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. We need to make these 2 centers look identical. So here we have green and blue. Here we have red and blue. So we need to put a green piece in this slot. So we can go ahead and do that just like that. And now these 2 centers are identical. So when we restore, we're just replacing pieces with other pieces of the same color, so they stay solved. So we don't have to go ahead and solve the centers. We can. Right now it's really easy just to solve it just by doing that, but you don't have to solve it since they're going to get broken up later on. Alright, so the next step is to solve these middle edges here. So again, this is done just like you would on a 5x5x4 and any cuboid with multiple edges like this. So we're going to go ahead and start, let's say, with white and orange, because I can see all 3 of the pieces right here. So first thing we're going to do is bring this middle piece to be opposite with one of these pieces. I'm going to go ahead and make it opposite of this one. So we're going to go ahead and bring it up to this layer and turn it over. So now the opposite spot to this one is all the way down here. Right here, right? So when we rotate this up, it's going to pair up. So now we can rotate that out of the way, replace it with an unsolved edge, and restore. So now we have half of our edge. We'll go ahead and turn it up here so it is opposite of this piece, the other wedge that we need for this edge. So when we turn it down, it'll complete the edge, and then we can replace it with another unsolved edge, bring it back. So there we go. We have our solved edge here. The next one I can see that's going to be really easy is this one, because we can do it in just one step since 2 of the pieces are already solved. Let's go ahead and find that middle piece. It's already in the correct spot, so it's already opposite of these 2 solved pieces. So we can just do a middle slice to pair it up, and now replace it with an unsolved piece right down here. So that one goes in there, and we restore. Cool, so now we have our 2 solved edges here. Let's go ahead and keep going. So I'm going to go ahead and say white and blue, since we already have a white and blue edge here, and we can just turn down another white and blue edge that can turn up to pair it. When we turn up, we're going to break this up. That doesn't matter though, because when we turn up, we're going to replace it with an unsolved one, which is right here. And then when we bring it back, that one is restored. Alright, so to get the third one in, the third piece is right here. So let's just go ahead and turn this up, and that puts this spot opposite, so we can turn up to complete the edge, replace it with an unsolved edge, and restore back. Okay, next up I'm going to go for yellow and red, because there's 2 pieces right here. So we're going to go ahead and put one of the yellow and red pieces opposite of the other one, solve that, replace it with an unsolved piece, and restore back. So now we have to finish off this edge with this piece right here, which can go right up here opposite of it, and then come right down to complete the edge. And let's see, we've got an unsolved piece actually right here that I'll use. There we go. Okay, next up, we're going to go ahead and solve this one because there's already 2 pieces done. Makes it really easy. The third piece is right here, so we'll turn that opposite of it. And it looks like we've got one more unsolved piece in this axis. So when we come down, we can just replace it with that unsolved piece and turn back. All right, we've got 3 left, so this is really good. So we're going to go ahead and start with this one. So we can turn this one up here, which means we can turn this piece up to match with it, but we need an unsolved one, and that unsolved one is going to come from here because we're all out of spaces everywhere else. So we can turn this over, replace it with a solved piece, and come back. So now we have that unsolved one, so for when we turn up, we can replace it with the unsolved one here. Okay, so now we just have a 3 cycle, so if everything goes to plan, we can insert this last edge in here, come over, replace it like that, come back, and restore. And there we go, all of our edges are in place. Okay, so now we're basically left with a 3x3x5. That is all that this is now. So the first step in solving a 3x3x5 is to get this middle layer. So we can just do that by turning around those middle pieces to get that middle layer solved. And now we're going to go ahead and put in all of these pieces here. So this is basically a 3x3x2. So this is the first 3x3x2 that we're going to solve. There's another outer one right here, which we'll solve after it. So since we put in those center pieces, our cross is already done for this bottom layer here. So that's going to be this layer. You can see that all our cross pieces are in here. So to bring in the corners, we need to do, let's say for this one, is find the corner that goes there. This one looks like it might be it, but it is not the opposite colors. So since this one already pairs with the middle piece, this is actually its correct spot. We need to find the other one. So the other one is here. So you can see the colors are flipped in relation to this middle piece, but when we insert it in, it becomes solved with the bottom pieces. So that created parity with these middle pieces, so we don't want to rotate the actual cube, we just want to turn the bottom layer when opening up new spots. So here we go. For this piece, the one that needs to go here is right here, so we're going to ignore it for now and come over here. If we look for the piece that goes here, it happens to be right above here like that. So let's go ahead and insert it in. And by inserting it in, we also brought out the piece that needed to go back here. So we can rotate this back now and then bring this in. And then the final one is back here. And that the one that goes there is going to be right here. And there we go. We also didn't get parity, but it looks like we might have, yeah, we're going to have parity because we need to swap these 2 corners for this layer here. So these 2 corners need to be swapped, which means it's going to swap the edges as well. So we're going to go ahead and swap those corners. And just as I expected, it flipped the edges as well. So when we go to fix those edges, it also swaps these 2 pieces. So we do get parity, but we'll just go ahead and fix that at the end. For now, we're just going to keep this always to our right so we don't mess with the parity anymore. So to get this outer 3x3x2 solved, it's a little bit easier since we have our top and bottom colors that we can work with. First, let's get our cross. So we can align that blue piece there. To get this green piece in, we'll rotate this spot up, bring the green piece in, bring it back. To bring this red one in, we'll bring that in here. And then to bring this orange one in, we'll just go like that. So now for the rest of the solve, I want to revert back to having this on the right side. So to bring in this corner piece here, we're going to align the bottom layer up with it like that. So this one can just come right down to here. And then we just need to swap these 2. So this one I'm going to bring out just by replacing it with a yellow piece. And then we'll align it over the correct corner slot. Bring it in, which kicks out the piece that needed to go here, which we can then insert in like that. Now we're just on the top layer. If we glance around the cube real quick, we can see that we have headlights here, which means these 2 corners are solved and these 2 need to be flipped. So we'll do a corner flipping algorithm to these 2. And now we just need to orient all of the edges. So let's go ahead and see what we got to do here. I think we're going to go ahead and start by just flipping these two. That's not going to solve anything. Actually, no, it does solve that one, which leaves us with a U-perm, basically, which we solve by a opposite swap followed by an adjacent swap. And that just leaves us with parity. So we can go ahead and solve this using a standard parity algorithm that will swap these pieces around. So let's go ahead and perform that. And there we go, the puzzle is solved. So that is how you solve these shape-shifting 5x5, a really fascinating cuboid that has a lot of cool cuboid features, even though it is a 5x5x5, so exhibits the same number of layers as a standard 5x5, but is not the same puzzle at all. Really cool puzzle. Hope you guys enjoyed the solve. It was a lot of fun to solve this puzzle again. I know I moved pretty quickly, but I didn't want this video to be incredibly long. But yeah, anyways, that is about it for the solve of the shape-shifting 5x5 cuboid. If you guys like this video, make sure you give it a like. Links to all of my social media pages, my Patreon, and my merch store are all linked down in the description below as always. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.